cursed by the old gods of Bethany. We are four souls destined to review the 1001
movies,
albums,
songs,
and TV shows you must consume before you die. Until then, we are the Immortals. And this is episode 161.
Cool.
Woo!
Gotta love a good palindrome.
Yeah.
Nope.
161.
Our final number is a palindrome,
It's true.
if we get there.
I mean, now we have motivation.
Right.
Yes.
Before it was like, whatever.
We'll casually spend 25 years doing this.
Sure.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Johnny Drama.
Yes, you are.
That's not your initials.
Don't care. Right joke.
And I'm Pedro.
And together we're the Immortals. This week we're reviewing the 666 entries in all these lists. Ooh, spooky, spooky. And they kind of tight. I don't know.
Not really.
This is what they are.
We watched an American Werewolf in London. Yep.
The album was World Clique by Deee-lite.
The song is Kiss by Prince and the Revolution.
And the TV show is Entourage. But what everyone watched this week. We're going to try to keep
I
this
saw
to
Avatar.
Okay.
Let's just start right there.
Here we go.
Get that out of the way.
All right. As you can tell from our voices, Pedro and I are sick.
Yep.
So we're going to try to keep this to a normal length. But of course, the irony whenever any podcaster says that is, the people who listen to this episode already know the timestamp.
Yeah, it's true.
Downloaded.
So you all know whether or not we are successful.
Shit, that's right. Never thought about that.
Oh, yeah. So, Pedro, in episode 159, of which you were missing because your house flooded.
Yeah.
What do you think of Avatar?
It was good.
Gotta say a little
I hadn't seen it since theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to watch it in 3D, so I've never experienced that. I saw the regular 2-hour, 40-minute cut. It was fine. I think I liked it more than I was expecting on a second viewing. Because the whole time I was thinking, I don't need to watch this movie again. Like, I got it. It's fine. I definitely feel that still coming out, but I don't think my time was wasted watching it. And it is actually still pretty impressive of a movie.
Do you find it fun?
Fun is a bit... I don't know. I don't know if it quite hits the level that it would need to for fun. Certain parts are fun, or scenes are fun, but the movie itself isn't really fun. It's more tragic than anything, but...
How do you think it does on race?
I mean, I don't know.
Badly.
Pedro,
Badly.
there's a right answer and a wrong answer.
Pedro hasn't heard the episode that has come out about this.
What?
The
I
did this,
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. How is Pocahontas on race?
Same.
Yeah, that, right? And this is just Pocahontas,
It
so...
is just Pocahontas.
Are you excited for the 4 sequels coming up?
What? 4?
4.
Are you serious?
Total of 5.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You didn't know?
No.
Yeah, this is completely
Why
real.
did they wait 10 years?
He's been honestly, building the technology.
It's because James Cameron spent a while making Aquaman.
Spoiler. But, no, yeah, he filmed, most of 2 and 3 at the same time. He's been, probably 2's gonna be, mostly underwater, underwater part of Pandora. I don't know. So he's just been, much like it took 10 years.
So it's still on Pandora?
I don't know.
Okay.
No one knows. Most of it's shot on a green screen, so everyone's just, in a warehouse.
Are the Sky People coming back?
I don't know, man.
Fucking know.
I didn't write it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been fine, just as itself a movie.
No, man, it's 25. Next one's in
so many
2021.
movies. Good God.
Then every other year for a while.
It's just so many.
And they're all Disney movies now, so that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So they just keep
Interesting.
rich get richer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you hinge Avatar?
I don't know, that's fine. 4.3. 4.34.
Despicable, honestly.
The highest hinge rating after yours is 3.2.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
Cool.
It's pretty to look at. It's impressive.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
But you don't really. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyone else watch anything Avatar level?
I watched something better than Avatar.
I did too.
The
Sarah,
Entourage
what'd you
movie?
watch?
I watched When They See Us. I rounded out. Everybody, if you want to round out your really, really depressing miniseries, like, by amazing directors quota for the spring, When They See Us is really, really good. It's about the Central Park Five, for those who don't know, and it's a docudrama. It's just well done. It's Ava DuVernay, and she has a very specific way of dramatizing history that sometimes tends into the maudlin, but I really liked the way that they did this story. They never take their focus off of the kids, even in the, like, appeal process and all of that. Like, it's about these guys who are in prison. It's not about, like, the lawyers who are fighting things, or it's about their experiences. It's really good. It's really depressing. Yeah.
It's all on Netflix.
Yeah, it is. And it's,
All
and like, everyone should watch it, but, like, all white people have to watch it. The barrier to entry is so low. It is on Netflix, and it is a story that you should know very well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I finished Chernobyl.
What did you think?
I haven't seen the fifth one yet, but
God
also
damn it, watch it.
I haven't seen the fifth one either.
I haven't
seen
seen
the
real-
second half of the fourth one either.
You guys are monsters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Should we replay episodes like 157, 158?
Remember when we said that this was exactly what was going to happen, and I said, yeah, probably?
Yeah.
I don't have any shame about this, Austin.
Okay. JC, what did you think of the culmination of Chernobyl?
It's real good. It's like a 12 out of 10 on the bummer scale, I would say.
Yes, I would agree.
It's a big bummer.
I mean, I guess it's probably a spoiler. I was going to ask, where does it end?
I don't think... Yeah, I don't think that this is a spoiler.
I mean, I don't think history has spoilers.
Does it touch the sarcophagus at some point?
They don't
Not really.
go. They don't go in particular. They're much more interested in the characters and the cover-up elements and the lies than they are about the sarcophagus.
And the sarcophagus wasn't finished until 2017 anyway. So
that's the new sarcophagus.
It's the new safe confinement.
Oh,
yeah.
A French company built it.
Yeah, and but no. So they but they mostly they're very. It gets I think the fifth episode's really good. It gets very dramatic and very themey. Like it definitely is about. It's the thesis of the miniseries, and it's very, very good.
What I was gonna say is I don't think this is a spoiler. Like most things that are based on real things, after the series ends, there's like a little epilogue, where are they now, what happened with all of the real footage.
Yeah.
And that it's an incredible miniseries. That is the best usage of that I've ever seen.
I agree.
They just really do it well. Also, there's tons of footage of Chernobyl and the stuff that happened, which I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and then I also learned that the reason it looks so fucked up is because the radiation instantly degraded it while it was being filmed.
Yeah. It's so weird.
It's extra fucking creepy.
I have already claimed Chernobyl for Austin's yearly article where we all write about an episode because I have more things to say about Chernobyl than can be contained.
I'm gonna put this on tape. I bet for my TV article, Chernobyl will be the most requested.
That seems right.
Yeah. Probably.
It's always interesting which one that is.
Sarah's claiming prima nocta on the Chernobyl.
Because as I have said many times, I liked Chernobyl before it was cool. It's really. JC, have you listened to the podcast?
Yes, I have not listened to the 5th episode yet, but I have listened to the podcast. Really good. Podcast is amazing.
The podcast, I think, is it's such a good companion to the show. I would almost say it's necessary listening. I mean, I'm sure it would hold up fine just by itself, but I got so much out of that podcast.
I do too. And I'm happy to say for all of our listeners who are listening, all 10 of them, that I cried watching the 4th episode of Chernobyl. and I literally cried. Like, there were multiple tears, and my face did the sobbing thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't done that in, like, over a year because it's chemically impossible for me now.
Well, yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
I mean, I consider it, I go ahead and say, it's a spoiler, it's a trigger warning. Dogs die in that episode. Yeah. It's really fucking depressing and awful. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's no way.
And it's honestly, it's handled with, like, the most dignity that, like, it ever could be.
But, like,
which is,
like, fuck.
makes it even worse. Yeah,
exactly. Like, and then in the podcast they talked about the scene they filmed and didn't put in there because it was too terrible.
I gotta listen
Chernobyl, 12 out of 10 on the bummer scale, 12 out of 10 in my heart.
I really do, like, it's funny because, like, When They See Us is very much, like, up my alley in terms of subject matter. I really care about that story. It is probably the only thing that could out-bummer, like, a really good docudrama on, like, the horror of wrongful convictions and American racism and how it was visited on 5 children is a docudrama about a literal nuclear disaster that gave thousands upon thousands of people cancer and killed them. Like, it's like, oh, okay, well, that Chernobyl was worse.
But this is also the year that's had on TV Surviving R. Kelly and Leaving Neverland.
Oh yeah, no, we're just like chock full of the.
It's bummer 19.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like. It's all well overdue bummers, I think.
Well, it's funny because now the latest, as of this week of recording, HBO quote-unquote miniseries is like the least bummery because Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies was super fun.
Even though it's about trauma and horrible crimes and such, it's so much more charming. Like, okay, look at this.
It's mostly just Meryl Streep saying hello to other women. So far, at least. We've only seen the first episode. And I'm here for it.
I'm really liking a show right now called Vita. It's on Starz. Season 1 was really good, and it was only like 6 episodes, half-hour piece, so you can like go through it really quickly. It's about 2 Mexican-American sisters who kind of come back to their original neighborhood in LA, and because their mom died, and it's, that kind of thing's been done in so many like other TV shows and other kind of indie movies and whatnot. But the specificity about these sisters' relationship and about Hispanic culture and about gentrification, while also being like really lovely and fun and so well written. I'm loving season 2 right now. It's also like it's also one of the most surprisingly like sexy shows on TV because it's like one of the few shows I've seen where like characters will have like sexual relationships, but it's not like the plot of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to say like that's just like part of their lives, and it's just not like okay, sexist. Now we're doing this because this is what the episode is about today.
Right.
Yeah.
That show is showrun by a playwright named Tanya Sriracha.
Oh,
and
cool.
I interned for a theater company that did her play a long time ago, and I met her like a million years ago.
Oh, wow.
She's really nice and a very cool playwright.
Awesome. Yeah.
And now a very cool showrunner. At our Pride Parade this weekend, there was a massive, like, truck that was actually a massive TV playing the trailer for Vita.
Was it sponsored by Starz, or just, like, someone was a fan?
It was like this. It was like the NBC float or something. I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic. Whole seasons 1 and 2 are out now. Just got renewed for season 3. Big fan. All right, let's get into the actual
it's not Killing Eve. I forgot. I mentioned that.
I did too.
I haven't seen.
Oh, we gotta catch up.
We haven't watched the back half of season 2 yet. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as like raw as the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You gotta watch Fleabag.
Eventually.
Well,
I'm playing too much Mario Odyssey. I don't think I can watch anything else.
How many minutes you have?
410.
Okay, that's more than me. Slow down and watch Fleabag.
Karen's like on percenting like every level before she moves on to whatever degree she can. It's insane.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Now it's time for the podcast stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to add it on my energy in post, so don't worry about
it. Wait, you can do that?
No.
Oh. It's like auto-tune.
Again, which of you is the David and which of you is the Jack? We need to know by the end of the podcast.
Pedro is fundamentally hairier.
This is true.
So I'm the one that makes it.
Until you don't.
Spoiler.
Bum, bum,
Damn, we
bum.
haven't even...
No, Austin is definitely the David.
Yeah,
For sure.
100%.
Because
Jack is
Pedro
funnier
is
and
definitely
weirder.
the undead person whimpering over Austin's shoulder.
Let's watch a porno. Anyway, we watched An American Werewolf in London.
Did you hear that? What was it? A coyote. There aren't any coyotes in England.
What happened to them?
Well, the police report said they were attacked by an escaped lunatic. Must have been a very powerful man.
Jack and I were not attacked by a man. It's an animal. A wolf.
Did he say a wolf?
Yes, I believe he did.
So, An American Werewolf in London came out in 1981. It's directed and written by John Landis, who, because of this movie, he and his makeup artist got the gig doing Thriller.
Yeah, they
Fun
do.
fact.
Cool.
Uh,
That makes sense, yeah. The makeup's
Obviously,
really similar.
obviously MJ is canceled, but I thought that was pretty cool
That is
because
cool.
Thriller is a cool piece of little filmmaking.
Can, like,
Um,
MJ be canceled and Thriller not be canceled? Is that a thing?
I think
where, like-
so.
Yeah.
I think that's how
No.
art works.
I mean, like,
But especially because Thriller is literally before the events that cancel MJ.
And the album
So-
is
I mean,
never not going to be.
I don't think we
top
know
seven.
that.
Like, that's
A,
true, we don't
and-
know that.
and also, like,
But
you want to mark which Woody Allen films we can talk about and we can't?
Yeah, but Woody Allen sucks.
let's say I want to say that the costumes and makeup of Thriller are not canceled
Well, it's
because
like,
those were made by different people.
if we're going to go around, like, Rick Baker, so I understand, the makeup guy, not canceled. John Landis accidentally killed somebody. So,
No.
Accidentally killed
What?
2 Vietnamese children.
yeah.
What?
Oh my God! What?
You don't know this story?
No.
Oh, I know this
No,
story
wait,
very
hold on.
well because we study it in law school.
Time for true crime gaze.
Well, didn't what's his face Bueller kill someone on accident?
So what,
Correct.
What movie is it? It's
Twilight's on the movie.
Twilight Zone. Yeah, weird.
Like, he does, like, one of the 4, like, things in it.
Yeah, no. John Landis. It's like a really sad story, but
Oh,
he was filming a scene for Twilight Zone where a mother runs with her 2 young children away from a helicopter that is like bearing down on them, and they did not have appropriate safety protocols, and the helicopter hit the ground, exploded, and killed the children. And like at the time, the reason we study it in law school is because it is a case that like runs right along the ridge of true accident and negligent homicide. So, like, there were people at the time that were asking that there are people who will say John Landis is a murderer, and I think that there's a reasonable argument to be made that is true, that he was so callous as to the safety risks for that to be the case. He was not ultimately charged with murder. And so it's like but that case is also the birth of most of the child labor laws in Hollywood. But yes, John Landis killed
Interesting.
2 children, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
So, just the makeup. Just the makeup.
As far, I've never, like, researched Rick Baker. I mean, he's considered to be one of the greatest, makeup artists of, we
Yeah.
don't.
Who?
Peter,
So-
Rick Baker, the guy who did, like, all the
Got it.
effects in this movie.
Got it.
Yeah. He's
So, bringing it back to
Yeah.
An American Werewolf in London.
awesome.
This is a movie about 2 young Americans, David and Jack. One is kind of a uptight dude, and one is sort of like wild and crazy. They are
Griffin Dunn isn't wild and crazy.
what?
The
They
guy
were
who,
both pretty bland.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
like, the best friend guy, is played by Griffin Dunn. That guy, like, only
Are
wears
we going to
tweed.
let me summarize the movie for the listeners? Is that allowed?
Maybe. I'll
Great.
consider it.
Okay, great. So they're hiking in England, across the moors because they are young college students
Because they're
abroad.
dumb.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that they've read Sherlock Holmes, so they're just dumb.
Yes, they're stupid. They stop at a pub because it's cold, and there's like
Slaughtered
a
man.
symbol on the wall that's a 5-pointed star, and they're having a good time with all these English people and
Yeah.
drinking Guinness, drinking beer, and one of them goes, "Say, fellas, what's that 5-pointed star on the wall?" And then everybody at the pub has a shit fit.
Yep.
The guy misses
Throws
his
them
dart.
out into the wilderness while the pub, I almost said the pub lady, while the bartender keeps going, "We can't leave them out there. You can't leave them." And they go outside, and then shit starts howling, and they're running around in the dark. Jack gets attacked and chewed up by some sort of beast. David gets a little scritchy scratch on his face.
In
Mhm.
chest.
Jack in his chest, literally in the shape of a claw,
Yep.
like a paw. David wakes up 3 weeks later in the hospital. Jack is dead, and Jack begins visiting David as a corpse. This features my favorite character, the dangling bit of skin on Jack's neck that
Yep.
vibrates when he talks. The only thing I can watch when it's on screen. And says that he needs to kill himself because he's going to transform into a werewolf. Now we can talk about anything else. Goodbye.
John Landis' son is also canceled.
Is that true?
Max Landis, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, I just read about that today.
Mm.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah, so I think this is like... Am I the one who's seen the movie before?
You'd seen this before?
I've seen
Yeah.
it before.
I had
Oh,
not.
I had not either.
Oh, yeah.
I have seen it before for I don't fucking know why. This is not a movie.
Maybe you guys watched it together.
Did we?
In
No.
like some film class? It wasn't high school.
No.
I mean, I watched it in high school because it's just like a popular movie.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very popular.
No shit.
This
I figured it'd be like a cult classic kind of thing, not like
I mean,
that popular.
It's like considered like be one of the like. I mean, it's kind of like one of the most definitive werewolf movies. The effects are kind of legendary.
the effects are very good.
They are, but like
They are.
It's like a
I thought
staple.
it was very just meh. I loved this movie, but I thought it was very just meh.
That's confusing.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. those are.
As a film, not much happens.
Right.
Pedro, you added an extra syllable. You said, as a film.
A film.
Film. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, actually, that's kind of where we're at. Because I've seen this before, and I get why like people like Edgar Wright like started to become a filmmaker because of things like this.
Yeah. That tracks.
I think that there are some like really cool things about this movie, but also it feels like the middle part is just stalling till the full moon comes out. Like,
yeah.
there's so many.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a very long movie. It's like an hour. It's like less than 90 minutes, and in the middle, you're tapping your watch like,
No,
all right.
I mean, I think it is
97.
telling that Austin and I watched the first half, and then like somewhere around minute 40, I was like, I'm sleepy, and I like couldn't keep my eyes open, and I went to sleep, and then like I woke up and started it again, and I was like, what was I, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes in, I was like, what was I talking about? This is a super action-filled movie. It's definitely got a doldrum in the middle. Austin mentioned that when we were watching it, that John Landis had recently made Animal House.
wait, no, he had great like this.
Yeah.
Is like, I mean, he has lots of films after this that are good, and then like
Yeah.
weird like 3 decades when he's not. But he makes Animal House, Blues Brothers, and this as
Like
3
the-
back-to-back
Blues
films.
Brothers.
I like.
So that's who this person is.
I really like the idea of this being in the same universe as Animal House, and these guys just being like extras from Animal House College, because like they are so much like the way that he writes dumb college kids in Animal House, which is why I think it's what I like about the movie, is that they're dum-dums.
They are.
And the actors have like a really, especially like before anything goes wrong, they have such a great familiar essence to them. It's
Yeah,
like they
they're
are
friends.
riffing in a way that doesn't feel like super scripted.
Yeah, not at all.
Like,
And the same with
Entourage.
his relationship with what's her guts, the woman that's
Yeah.
in it.
The nurse.
Yeah. Alex is the character name. Like they also feel like a real couple. Like that. Like genuinely likes each other.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah. And it's, it's pretty good. I was a fan. I mean, like, it doesn't tell me deep things about humanity, but it's, like, good.
I kind of respect this one more than I actually like it, because like I get like, oh, this is such a bold move of like really kind of like having horror and comedy both being treated as like equal genres. That said, it's still super jarring to have a movie that is super fun to be around, where the whole premise is kill yourself.
Oh,
that's
why. I mean, the reason I like it is because it is like the swing that it does from like almost Animal House levels of like fun, happy, jokey guys to like one of them telling the other one, kill yourself because otherwise you're going to kill a lot of people. And like the way that he said that Jack, dead Jack says that still doesn't like, it's not like he has like thunder cracking behind him. It's just like, there's your buddy. And he said, this is what you have to do. And like, definitely I had the feeling of like, there's a version of this story where, what's the other guy's name? Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, where Dave is crazy. And like, that this is not true. And until he turns into a werewolf, there's this feeling of like, well, are we sure? Like, are we,
the Nazi werewolf dreams are kind of...
Yeah, but I mean,
you saw the wolf at the beginning, and then you see a naked dude.
Sure, but like, the movie, I think, plays with that question of like, Dave feels like he's crazy. He doesn't kill himself. And like, then horrible things happen. Like, yeah, I thought it was very good.
I did like that. So, like, my favorite shot in the movie, and I think this movie is another really good, like, entry in the long list of movies that are very suspenseful because, like, they don't have the ability to show us everything, so they have to rely on other stuff, is the subway chase. Where
that's crazy.
He is chasing that man through the subway, and you have this amazing shot where the dude on the subway has fallen onto an escalator, and it's slowly taking him up, and the camera is at the top of the escalator.
Yeah.
And you just see, like, the werewolf's, like, paws in the top of its head just come into view after never seeing it move. Like, you never see it do anything other than that. And it just moves so slowly, and it's really good, and it's really chilling. It reminded me of Jaws. Like,
yeah.
And like, where you just get, like, a little fin, you get a little tooth, and you're like, and then you're shaking in your boots, and you're like, somebody's gonna get eat, and then they do.
Is that what you say?
Solid.
Someone's gonna get eat?
Yeah.
I like it.
That's what I said.
Cool.
I just in my mind right now that this is like a well-known movie by a big director that's like
super popular,
all of that shit. Like, I was watching this, I was
kind
like,
of
why
obvious,
is this on the list? Because I knew nothing about it. Why is this on the list? I feel like this is something I would watch on Bad Movie Night Thursdays, where you watch this obscenely gory and just silly movies.
This is at like revival houses all the time. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I loved this movie. It makes sense, but like,
yeah.
I
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead, JC.
I think this is like. I think this is something I only notice in horror movies for some reason. But I could see like other movies in this. Like when you said Edgar Wright, I hadn't thought of that yet, but that 100% tracks.
Yeah.
But also like there's a lot of Evil Dead in this.
Oh, a lot of Evil Dead.
A lot of Evil
like
Dead.
a lot of Evil Dead, and like, but also like every. Like, I don't know, and that was really cool to me to be like, yes, I can see this. And I just remember why I watched this movie. Because in college, I had to watch Ginger Snaps, which is another great werewolf movie. And I had to write a paper about it, and so I watched this movie, and then I ended up writing it about Ginger Snaps and Jennifer's Body, which is another great
Jennifer's
monster
Body
movie.
is a weird, great horror movie.
Yeah, Jennifer's Snaps is really cool. When like, so... To me, like I typically don't like werewolf movies because like they're almost like too sad for me to have fun with.
Werewolves are a very tragic kind of monster.
Which is like it's so
different. It's a big dog. It's a big sad dog.
It's like it's different than like vampires are moody and whatnot, that kind of things. But like something about like a werewolf, like they didn't do anything wrong, you know?
Right.
Like, they're just like walking around, and now like. Not only does like his friend die, he's mourning that, and now his friend back from the grave tell him to kill himself all the time.
Right.
And like, don't know, something like very like tragic about how like you're totally fine for like most of the month, and then like you're awful.
And you can't do anything about it. Yeah.
Like that scene when he comes back and he's like, "Hi, so the train's got to be broken. Kill yourself." Like that. First time he says line, just completely 180s the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I don't.
I mean, for that, like the buddy died.
But
that's a monster movie.
Yeah, and you see his intestines do the thing. It's really gross.
Right, but I think frankly, like as a person who has major depression, like this is not like they don't pull any punches on like Jack being like very clear about what. And there's it's a psychological horror. It's totally different than the horror that the movie starts with and ends with.
Yeah,
right.
It's I mean, that's when I said, like, obviously Jack's not in his head, but you almost feel like he is because it's such like a weird personal experience he's having.
Jack as being not in his head as in like a figment of imagination, but in his head because he's a supernatural being. Kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, I guess like to me, like with so much of horror, like majority of horror, like you have like a predator and prey thing going on, right? Your main characters are under threat of monster, serial killer, whatever, and then you kind of have movies about monsters where it's like, okay, you got a vampire or a mummy from last week. The thing like about a werewolf where like the misery is yourself.
Yes.
But you're watching a horror movie. So you know it isn't going to end with him just killing himself in the hospital bed.
Right.
But the same way that like people struggled to make a movie about the Hulk.
Although that would be another version of a very dark
story.
story.
It's the same kind of like
at
thing,
the end,
right?
I guess is it alright if we
it's spoiler warning for pop horror.
Towards the end, when like that very last scene when your girlfriend runs out there and tries to, talk down the wolf. I was still totally up in the air, like 50-50 on if he was going to try to attack her, if he was just going to get shot, or if he was going to have sad eyes and then run into an oncoming car. Like, suicide, but as werewolf type thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea which way it went.
Yeah.
No, it definitely kept me on my toes.
Yeah, I guess like it's such a weirdly structured movie. It's 90 minutes.
Oh, it's very strange.
97 minutes.
I'm so sorry. 90 minutes, and yet you can kind of go like every other scene should be in the movie. Like,
yeah.
I think you had to jump ahead 3 weeks of him just like in a hospital bed.
I did like it jumping ahead 3 weeks far.
I mean, because we got to get to next moon, but also like, I'm like, look at this fucking Medicare for all over here.
I mean, he's an American in London. He has to experience the wonders of a single-payer health system, Austin.
And then he gets to go home with a nurse. It's
it's
really
perfect,
incredible system. But yeah, you have that. You have nightmares just for like think of tone, I guess. That are just like
the nightmares are
fucking fucked up. The one about his house where the people come in and shoot everyone.
That fucked me up. That was in my dreams last night. Like
I was like, this seems boring. Like I guess I
really?
I found it like to be like,
oh no.
I just found it.
Who are you?
Well, I mean, I wasn't scared by anybody in this movie. Like that's me. Like once you see their faces, you go like, oh, so this is filler. Like, I found it to be like just like filler completely.
That's a crazy reaction to that scene. I mean,
I was wondering like, are they going to bring
Austin?
This back?
Are you a
are
psychopath?
This part
I mean,
of the
Austin is not afraid of any horror movies, but like, which is weird. But I mean, like, the fact that you actually thought the scene was boring is weird to me.
Because it just like instantly like presents itself as not part of the plot. And I'm like, don't we have something like coming on here?
But I mean, I think that those dreams are so a part of Jack's, like Jack saying, "Kill yourself." Like we're not staying in monster movie land. Like it's not that Jack is coming back and being like, "Beware the full moon." He's being like, "No, like you gotta kill yourself." And it's not like his dreams are like spooky werewolf dreams. It's like Nazis in masks with machine guns breaking into his home and trying to kill him.
Well, I mean, it's basically the indiscriminate killing of a werewolf. Is that
right?
If he would have transformed his home, that would befall his family in a way. Had that scene though with the family, was that the scene that they like in the early days of YouTube? Someone put together saying that's why you don't pirate movies or something. Because they shoot up the TV.
I never saw that, but
that seems very possible.
Pretty sure I've seen that scene before, and I think it was because it was one of those videos.
Can we also talk about how this movie's title means that you constantly have the song Werewolves of London stuck in your
Which
head.
they never play.
Which is very...
They have a great soundtrack.
They do, but they never play Werewolves of London.
It is...
Werewolves of London.
I mean, it's been stuck in my head all week. It's been a whole experience.
What's the... Because like during the violent transformation scene, like Blue Moon is playing, right? There's a lot of really fun...
That transformation scene was crazy.
Insane.
I mean, like, kept going.
There are people who like written whole articles about that scene, and I, of course, got to read them for this. But like, that's like Rick Baker in display. Like every time like the camera at a different angle, that's another practical effect that happens.
That's crazy.
Since like every hand extension, like all that kind of stuff is like, it's all practical. It's insane. It's truly insane.
I want to make a trans joke now and say that's what it's like every time you inject yourself with testosterone. So sorry. I also wanted to make sure we talk about the porno scene. That's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, that's it. There's like a
That's one of the best blends of horror. Okay, it's like Beetlejuice, right? Like, here are your victims. Hi, how's it going? I don't know how to talk to them.
Yeah.
Like that to me was
a great scene, actually. That was a lot of fun. Just all of it. When the cop comes in and witnesses a massacre, you just hear them in the background. I don't even know what they said.
There's something about, and like, this movie feels like, weirdly always felt like a thing that could happen. I was sort of like, well,
I'm sorry,
no,
which part?
No, if of the sort of like, if this predicate is true, this is how the real world would function. Like, if the first 10 minutes of the movie are real, or 20 minutes, and werewolves are real, and the, English more people know it, and all of that shit. That's what, I mean, whatever.
That's the sequel, Revenge of the More People.
If all that is true, it's just like a bunch of very normal Americans interacting with that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Also, we need to talk about Balloon Boy. Because that scene is one of my favorite scenes that I've ever seen in any movie ever.
Oh my god. Precious.
Yeah. I mean, he's bribing him with money he does not have on him.
He's bribing him with money he does not have on him. He's also paying a child to come view his naked body in a bush. And the movie knows it. Like,
and the kid's also like holding like 8 balloons, like a little weirdo.
I also like the kid's
He also doesn't pay the kid.
No, he doesn't pay the
He's
kid.
naked.
And the kid is at first
exactly
delighted by the weirdness of what has happened. And what I love is when right before they switch away, the kid gets this death look in his eye. I'm like, fuck that guy. And like, it was a very nice little moment for the little British kid.
Yeah.
I love it.
I laughed out loud by myself in the apartment at that scene.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he's like 5 years old, but he knows this guy's American, just when he's talking, and he had to make that clear to his mom. I make it American, man.
And like, I also like that like they did not prolong the scene. They just got the mom going, wait, what?
That was a fun just whole bit.
And him coming home with like in like the red girl's jacket.
Well, because like him running by and like swiping it off of the bench and stuff. That whole like since waking up naked with the wolves and getting home, I think was just a great 5 minutes.
I appreciate his reaction to it, which is like I sometimes talk about like there's like your day can be bad and it's sad. Your day can be even worse and it's sadder, but once your day gets, like, comically horrifying, like, you get this strange giddiness to you. That's what he has when he gets home. He's like, by the way, this is my life now. And I appreciated that.
Yeah.
My new favorite game, since we watched Avatar and the Mummy, is to imagine. I think sometimes the numbers across, they create like a really nice like resonance within each other. Like the fact that we watched this movie and Entourage, and this feels like a movie Johnny Drama would be cast in.
Yes, that.
It's too good for Johnny.
Honestly, which one's Johnny Drama?
No, Johnny Drama would be like if there were like a third friend that was in this movie who was not important. Right. That would be the Johnny Drama character.
I know exactly what he would be in because there is a terrible, barely connected sequel to this movie that I saw last October.
That is what Johnny
It's
Drama
called
would be in.
An American Werewolf in Paris.
I
Has
was wondering what that one was.
None of the people who made this movie. It is just like a producer who had this credit and made this title. It is so bad. Julie Delpy looks truly embarrassed to be in it. It is It's so awful. That's what Johnny Drama would be in. He would be in An American Werewolf in Paris.
Is he the one that has to jerk it before they get there? That's the line. I remember
What
the line.
did you just say?
I think he's quoting an Entourage episode that like we don't remember right now.
That's what it is. He's the terrible one. Well, they're all terrible.
He's the brother. Johnny Drama's the...
Whatever.
song.
We're gonna get there
Okay.
really soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on American Werewolf in London?
Loved it.
Werewolves London.
Werewolves of London.
Not in this movie.
It doesn't matter.
Why did the doctor all
Fuck
of a sudden
off,
decide to
Austin.
go investigate? I feel like I missed like some piece that turned the doctor over where he's finally like, I'm gonna go check out this place.
I don't know. Plot. JC, what do you give it?
I give it a 4-3.
3-4.
I got a 4-1. I like this movie.
Well, since I
I do
laid
too.
the foundation with Avatar, I gave it a 4.3. I kind of have to give this like a 4.7.
Whoa.
Pedro, you didn't even like it.
No, I loved this movie. What are you talking about? This is a fantastic movie.
You literally kept saying, I didn't like it, but I loved it.
Which
Decide.
makes no
No,
sense.
I was surprised about all of the qualities it had behind it, not knowing
Right.
they were
He didn't like it, but he loved it. He didn't like Avatar. High grade. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of flowcharts, and Pedro will make them.
No.
Great.
No transition. What is the album this week?
The album is World Clique by Deee-lite.
The chills that you spill up my back leave me filled with satisfaction when we're done. Satisfaction of what's to come. I couldn't ask for another. No, I couldn't ask for another. Your groove, I do deeply dig. No walls, only the bridge. Myself a dish, my succotash wish. Sing it, baby.
So, World Clique is the debut album of the dance/house band Deee-lite, and it came out in 1990. It was very, very popular on the Billboard Top 100 and the UK Singles chart, and like on the dance club charts. It was like at the top. Deee-lite, which I'm doing that way because there are 3 E's in D, and then a dash, and then L-I-T-E. So there's that. Is a house trio from New York, who are crazy and cool. And this is their crazy cool album. Who else listened to it?
I did.
I wish that I had, but I didn't.
Cool.
Which means nothing in the grand scheme of
That makes
things,
sense.
but
That makes sense.
just want everyone to know my intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have probably heard Deee-lite before, but like when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, like yes, this is a sound I'm very aware of, but I didn't actually recognize any of the songs. And so what I realized is that a lot of these have been in remixes that I've liked. Like it's a very like foundational dance album. Of just like the beats are great. Like I totally understand. Like you could play this now at a club and it would be great. Like it's a great dance album. But I think that's why I'm so like it seems so familiar.
I mean, I guess I had a similar experience where like, so I didn't like this album.
Well, you're wrong.
But like, it was a thing where like,
Let him know.
Thanks for the support, JC. Every track I was listening to, I was like, this sounds almost familiar, until like track like 9 or 10, where it's Get Your Groove On, and go, that's a very famous song.
Yes.
And I knew that song. I go like, yes, all the songs were sounding really close to this song. I finally got to this one, which is, like, I probably have a lot with the album list. It should be on the songs list. I think the rest of the album isn't that good. That's a good
so
song.
Wrong though.
Like this is like the only thing that popped out is like actually like tap your foot to. I found that to be not a very good dance album at all.
So yeah, I really loved it because I think that I liked all of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
I also had the experience of hitting grooves in your heart and being like, oh,
that's what it's called. Yeah.
This is the song that is the famous song off this album. But like I thought it was really inventive. I mean, they do some weird stuff with spoken word in the middle of their album. Like, as an album, it never got boring listening to, for me at least, because each song was quite different. They were like trying something else, or they were like, I wouldn't say the lyrics are good. I mean, it's a dance album.
No, they're not very good.
But there are lyrics, and like they're different. Like, I liked the song World Clique. I thought it was fun. I did say out loud that's the name of the album when they said World Clique, so there's that. But just in general, like, I am also just kind of in love with these guys' aesthetic, because, like, it is the most late 90s, or late 80s, early 90s thing. Like, I highly recommend that all of our listeners look up the album cover for this, because it's a beauty. It's really a beauty.
Oh, that is pretty great.
And, like, what's funny about them, like, reading about them is they clearly, like, they're club kids, right? So, like, they clearly have a sense of humor about themselves, like, while they're making this, and they know they're absurd, but they're making really good music. I really enjoyed this. I think there's a mood that I could be in where this would be, like, perfect. Actually walking my dog while being irritated at everything was, like, kind of that, so it worked for me.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I highly recommend to all. Especially if you just, like, it's good, like, background dance music that is, like, solidly 90s. Like
I almost found it to be too aggressively 90s.
Oh, it's
and wanted
wonderful.
to stay in the 90s, locked up where it belongs.
Well, I mean, I understand your point, but also what the fuck is wrong with you and the 90s? The 90s are great, bud. So I think that, yeah, that's me. I got what I gotta say.
Henges.
I'm gonna give this a 4. I really liked it. And, like, for something that I don't think is, like, great art.
2.8.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Alright. Speaking of great art.
Ooh, yeah. You're not going to ask me what we listened to?
What do we listen to, Pedro?
We listened to Kiss by Prince and the Revolution. So, Kiss is a song.
Kiss.
Excuse me. I'm sick, if you couldn't tell.
I'm also sick, in case
By
you couldn't
Prince and his band, The Revolution. I did not know that was a thing.
I mean, mostly, this is by Prince.
Yeah.
Well,
The Revolution
the
is the band
official.
that he formed and founded, so kind of makes sense as well. I just never heard it as, like, both together. I didn't know he was associated very much with his band.
That's just what this book said.
No, but it's fair, because that's all
We heard the
true.
album by Prince, and that was just called Prince in a different book.
His band may not have been part of it.
Fuck him.
Whoa! Anyway, this came out February 5th,
I'll fuck Prince.
1987.
I'll
Fuck
band.
Prince.
Now? No.
I think all people of all
He's dead.
genders and all sexualities would fuck Prince. And I think Prince would be cool with that.
Probably fair.
I think that's what Prince is going for.
I think that's what Prince is going for.
Did you all watch the music video?
Yeah.
I
No.
didn't watch it. I didn't watch it again, but I have seen the music video for this. And it's
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
so good. It's
It
so
is.
good.
I was watching
quite fun.
it, like, oh, I don't think I could watch this at work.
Prince is,
No, probably
And
not.
it's-
Prince is a whole thing. I mean, like,
No, but it's like, it technically is like, it is able to be aired on all television. Like,
Yeah.
no, this is just like, this is Prince being Prince.
this made me understand why, like, this music video is one of those ones that are like, oh, I understand why a bunch of conservative moms in the late 80s were like, everything's about sex.
Yeah, because this is about sex.
I mean,
Right.
Prince is about sex.
Right, but like, I really do, like, but there's a couple things like that. Like, you know, there's this, like, list of, I don't remember what it's called, but, like, the Tipper Gore women who went to Congress and
Yes.
complained, they had a list of bands that they were called something like I think they were called the Filthy 30, or the Filthy 40. Like, I don't remember, but they were like a list of bands specifically, which Prince is definitely on. And yeah, I'm watching the visuals on this music video, which I have seen many times, because I've listened to this song when I did not own it by going on YouTube and watching it.
Pedro?
Yes.
What's the song?
So it's a song by Prince, as we talked about. Okay, I'm not a Prince fan.
Well, you're wrong.
Sorry.
Sarah's being very binary today.
Austin, you wouldn't be allowed to watch this at work?
No, it was hysterically just steamy. Like I had it on my computer. I'm like,
oh yeah,
yeah. It is completely. It is in the PG to PG-13 realm.
Yeah, sure.
But it's just so hysterically sexual.
Oh
well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah. He rips his pants off.
I love this woman in this red suit playing the guitar.
I love her too.
That is a
She has my
member
heart.
of the Revolution. His band.
That makes sense because it's a music video.
Also, it's weird because Prince is such a baby in this. Like, he's got to be 21 or something.
So he was born in 1958.
Whoa! So actually, he's third, a little, in his 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late 20s. Almost 30. So, alright. I'm not saying I dislike Prince music.
You
I
just did.
haven't heard a lot of Prince music. So I was never a big fan growing up. I don't know much of his music. This one in particular just didn't strike me as a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
it was fine. It was a good beat, good tune, great guitar when it spins up and does its solo thing and all that. But apart from that, I didn't get an overwhelming sense of this is a work or not an over, but just a work of some fantastic musician that will be immortal.
And weird because we've heard I think 2 albums of Prince so far on this podcast. Sign of the Times, and do we do
I don't think
the
we've done,
year one?
I
Definitely.
don't think we've done Purple Rain yet. So
no, we've done Purple Rain. But I think we did
we did. We've done.
19,
I think we maybe did. Yes, we did the one that has a number. I think it's 1989.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Party like it's 1989. It's that one, yeah.
So and so I never grew up with Prince either, and I kind of keep seeing him more now, and I really like those albums. I kept going man, I'm really getting it more, and just
1999, which is a 1982 album about 1999, which is why it's great.
But this song, I'm oh yeah, this is why he is a legendary status. This song is just so. I thought the song was incredible.
Yeah, it's funny. I was realizing I grouped this song very closely with When Doves Cry because he's doing a lot of the same vocal things of the very falsetto. I get to music nerdy, but he does a lot of guttural stops in the middle, which is those sort of when you stop a word don't have to be rich, and you cut off your sound really really quickly.
I was reading the lyrics of this,
so
and every once in a while
clipped.
they put it in there, so it's that comma So they kind of keep putting the lyrics of those moments. I mean, at one point he tells the person listening to not watch the TV show Dynasty. I'm yeah, this song's great.
So I think with Prince, there's something very. Oh God, I was about to say something really nerdy, so I'm not gonna say the way that I thought I was gonna phrase that. But there's something really
No.
individual.
Say it. As JC often says, speak your truth.
I was gonna say sui generis, which is a very useful phrase.
That made chills go up my spine, Sarah.
That means something that arises, that creates itself, that arises spontaneously.
Wait, it's the Hannibal quote, "No one made me, I made me"?
Yes, that's
Prince.
Yeah, that's Prince. I'm horrified that just was what popped into my mind. I mean, I'm not drunk, but I've had 2 beers, which I think drops my inhibitions against being a total nerd, and that's just where my brain went. So it's
a pretty nerdy podcast.
But Prince doesn't Prince is weird because he doesn't build on anything. It's not there's somebody else Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, even the Beatles. You know what they come from. You can trace a musical path. Prince is just his own shit. And this song is peak Prince. There is no effort to make this song like Little Red Corvette, which is another great Prince song, is like very much like Prince doing pop. Like you can play this on the radio, it will sound like pop. This song was a #1 hit by just being like this weird, like gender bending 80s like falsetto dude doing his thing.
No, there are 4 instruments in this song. There's a guitar, there's a bass, there's a drum, and there's Prince making kissing noises.
Yeah, right. Like it's just crazy.
It is. It's art. Like it's so good and it's so fun. Like it's very much like it has like it's so like lighthearted and like joyful in this way. And like even watching the music video, it's just like they're just like having a great time. But it's never. And it still has so much, like, meaning, but it isn't pretentious at all. Like, it's great. It's amazing.
You know what I think is weird? Is that this song is both not like anything that's come before it, but also no one... Like, this song is not like anything that's come after it. Like, there's not some, like, modern Prince, like... I mean, there's people...
I would say like
him.
Janelle Monáe is pretty close.
That's fair. The Janelle Monáe has a lot... But Janelle Monáe doesn't have the weird falsetto thing that Prince is doing is so specific that like it makes it very hard to like imagine it in anyone else's like hands, and like it's weird for a #1 single to feel that unique in all of music history. That like it didn't have imitators in a weird way.
So this song like begins in the first millisecond.
Oh yeah, no, there's no intro.
Yeah,
I think that. So it's really interesting, like, listening to this song. I think Janelle Monáe like, either samples or is, like, taking inspiration from, like, that opening, like, guitar riff that, like, da-da-da-da, like, for the song she has called Screwed, which is really good. And then her Make Me Feel video is a lot like this video, where there's that like, running back and forth across the stage, like, just a little bit. Like, it's definitely, like, homage in a cool way, where it's, like, it plays off it in a really nice way.
I would note that this is a certified gold single, was #1 hit on US Billboard, and after Prince died in 2016, it came back at number 28, like 20 years after its release, because it's that good.
Pedro, you and I should watch the movie Purple Rain, because it's wild, and like...
We will watch that after we finish recording. It's so good.
No, Pedro and I are dying. We're dying on it. But it's a movie that,
Purple Rain is fucking wild.
It is. It has great music in it, movie. But also the weirdness of how he tells the story is like up your alley.
Okay.
There is one moment in that movie that is so fucking funny to me that I keep showing the clip to everybody. It's all about being baptized in Lake Wakanawa. But anywho, any final thoughts on Kiss?
Kiss.
It's real good. Yeah. I was like more of a dog kiss, but I'm doing the best I can with the tools I have.
I gotcha.
I'm sorry, this is like 3.8?
Pedro is rating Prince lower than Avatar. This is a crime.
Different. It's
significantly
not apples
lower
to
than
apples.
Avatar.
We'll get him there, JC. Like we'll get him there. We'll make him understand someday.
I want Pedro to live his truth, but also sometimes the truth is a lie.
Never forget the Bowling Green Massacre. I am going to give this a 4.7.
I was going to give it a 4.8, and I will.
I was also going to give it a 4.8, and I will.
Speaking of 4.8 quality, now it's time for Entourage.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah!
Superhero, even if I tumble fall, I'm okay. If I need you desperately, if I need you desperately, I wanna be your superhero.
Austin, you want to talk about Entourage?
You betcha.
Because it's your favorite show, right?
Entourage!
I didn't know this came out. Entourage is an HBO comedy, apparently, created by Doug Ellen, and it ran for 8 seasons. And a movie, it was frequently nominated for Best Comedy Series at the Emmys.
And won
It
a
won-
couple times, right?
It won for acting.
No.
It won a
Shut the
BAFTA
fuck
for
up.
international comedy.
The fact that it won a BAFTA, it's like, Brit, you're
No.
better than this.
It was frequently nominated
No.
for acting, writing, directing, and overall comedy series. I mention all of this for a very clear sense of irony of just how fucking terrible this show is. Seen every episode now.
Which is
in the movie.
horrifying.
In the movie, of course.
We didn't have to watch the movie.
No, but at this point, you kind of just gotta see what
That's
happens
fair.
to the boys. This is the story of Vinny Chase.
The story suggests plot.
This is the table setting for Vinny Chase. He is a popular actor on the rise. The show begins with him, like, having a hit film, I guess. And he has his entourage, which includes
What's the
his
name of the
best
show?
friend and manager, E. You have his dumb friend, Turtle.
Wait, no, all of his friends are dumb. But
That's
the
a-
one who is only dumb
that's
is
a-
named
that's
Turtle.
a major thing. Is he just like he's dumb and he drives the car?
Is Turtle his chauffeur?
I
He
mean,
Is that
just,
his
he
role?
just spends the money.
yeah,
and,
his
like,
role is
has
unclear.
the drugs. Eventually, he becomes a millionaire because he owns a tequila company. He becomes as rich
I mean,
as
that happens.
Yep. And then you have Johnny Drama, who is
The only good part of the show.
his brother,
Yes.
who is a kind of failed actor in many ways. Of course, wonderfully played by Kevin Dillon, Matt Dillon's less successful brother.
I will say
Literally.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the award-winning Jeremy Piven plays the vulgar agent Ari Gold.
So do you guys know the trivia of who Ari Gold is based on?
No.
Okay,
No.
so there are.
Yeah.
I know this. So there are 3 Emmanuel brothers. They are a famous family. You have heard of 2 of them, although the third is also famous. One of them is a cancer biologist whose name is Eli. The
Okay.
second is the former mayor of Chicago,
Yes.
Rahm Emanuel, and the third is a guy named Ari Emanuel,
Mhm.
who is like a genuinely huge and apparently completely assholic studio executive on whom Ari Gold is based very closely.
They share a name.
Yes, I mean, like,
That's pretty-
they didn't even try. Like,
Well, they didn't even try as the thesis for the show.
I mean, right.
Because it
Yeah.
is a show that hysterically has no plot for 8 seasons in a movie because they just kind of go do something. Maybe Vinny gets the movie, maybe he doesn't. He always gets the movie. Everything
Spoilers.
you can't. Everything works out in the show. It becomes the
Yeah, there's no drama.
there's
Except for Johnny
except for
Drama.
John, of course. It is a show that truly never became self-aware. You know, everyone kept making fun of the fact that everything always works out for them. With sometimes the laziest Deus Machinas. I watched one in last season, which was like, "Oh man, that company went public. We could have been millionaires." And Vince goes, "Oh wait, I actually never sold our shares. We're millionaires."
Love it.
That was it. This is the thing that
That's the
happened
whole thing.
in
That's
one
the
episode.
whole jam.
How
It
is
is
this not self-aware? Like,
because
is that
it is
wrong?
so up its own ass.
It really is.
Of misogyny, homophobia, and just hatred towards humanity that it thinks it is brilliant. Everyone else
Well,
doesn't get it.
it's a star fucker of a show, right? I mean, like, its interest is in, like, being around a certain kind of Hollywood masculinity that it worships. And, like, the only reason I got a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome because I watched a bunch of Entourage Season 2 today, which I watched Season 1. Season 1 is deeply horrible. Season 2, there are things that I laughed at in Season 2. Most of them are Johnny Drama. Like, most of what is good about this show is Johnny Drama. But, like, they don't... Like, what they care about is just celebrating this Hollywood masculinity, and, like, they think it is genuinely a good thing. They think that Ari is, like, the asshole who gets shit done, and that is a laudable characteristic. Like, they think that, like, E and Turtle should push themselves to be bigger assholes to women so they can get laid more. Like, they believe, that the show writers believe that is the way that you should be.
And the characters are all rewarded for it.
When did this come out? Like, when did it start?
2005.
Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
It's so fucking dated.
2013.
It's so dated,
that was like
too.
No, but the movie is 2016.
Is the
Which is
movie at least
hilarious.
everywhere?
No!
What the fuck?
It's
No,
not.
here, I'm going to spoil the movie.
Because
Okay.
don't ever watch it.
Vince directs his own film, which is a $115 million adaptation of Jekyll and Hyde as a DJ. You watch one clip of it, which is mostly him, like, throwing, like, a potion in the air and the club raving, and then they all fight the cops. We watched this scene, Sarah and I go, and Sarah said, like, that's actually a pretty fun, like, bad scene of a movie. It's a pretty clever that. That movie, in the world of Entourage, grosses $450 million and is a Best Picture nominee.
Wow.
Johnny Drama wins a Golden Globe for being in that movie.
Well, and I think, like, there's this level of, like, I feel like if you asked the writers, like, you guys know you're ridiculous, right? This is a parody. They'd be like, yeah, we're just, like, making fun of it or whatever. But, like, they're not. Like, nothing in the actual narrative logic of the show or the movie suggests that they're making fun of anything. Except maybe, like, except maybe, like, E and the fact that he is slightly less traditionally masculine than everyone around him.
No, E is
literally the most... Does he even exist? Is he even on my screen? When I'm watching it, he disappears into a cup of Ovaltine. Like, there's just nothing. Kevin
Connolly. It's not that he's like...
Oh, Turtle does that for me. Like, I keep track of E. Like, who the fuck is Turtle?
Kevin Connolly as E does not do anything on screen.
No.
He is not charismatic. He says the lines. He's walking. Doesn't even, like, express himself as, like, angry or annoyed. He just kind of keeps walking around places, and then, like, women fight over him.
Yeah, and he gets just, like, verbally abused by Ari Gold, despite clearly being, like, useful. Like, I mean, for all that he is, like, narratively, he is useful. He does something, which is handle the man-child that is Vinny Chase. And, like, he just gets shit on a lot by Ari Gold, who is verbally abusive and horrible. And, like, the fact that his wife does not have a name in this show is, like, everything you need to know about it. Like, they thought that was a funny joke to say, like, our main asshole character, we're just never going to name his wife because she's just a naggy bitch. Like, they thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I found Jeremy Piven. So I went into the show. I watched 5 episodes. I've never seen it before. Oh my god, this won a Peabody.
Oh,
are
like,
you fucking kidding?
It's weird. It's cause men rule the world, and it's horrible.
Also, every award show likes things about themselves, aka Tootsie won a Tony.
But this is also, like, it isn't... Well, I'll let you finish, but then I have a gender rant.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought that this was going to be a shitty TV show, but I was going to really enjoy Jeremy Piven's performance because that's all everybody wants to jerk off to in the world, is talking about how good it is. And it's terrible. It's lifeless. There is nothing funny about it. The only thing that's good in the show is Kevin Dillon as Johnny Drama.
It's a delight.
I honestly don't understand the original premise of the show, this podcast that I'm on. But it feels like Johnny Drama would become a god. I feel like that's what I would cast my vote for.
The more times that Johnny Drama's claim to fame, which is his role on Viking Quest, comes up, the better.
Yes.
There is a season 2 episode where they go to Comic-Con, and I have to admit, it was a very good half hour of television. It was genuinely funny. And it's because Johnny Drama... The plot of that episode is Johnny Drama has been making bank at Comic-Con for 10 years because he actually has to work for his money, so he makes like 10K every year just giving autographs, and then like Vinny has to come and like be hot Aquaman there, and like it's a genuinely funny episode. But no, my gender rant is this. I'm gonna give it. Because I saw that you were like breathing in to say something, Austin, but I'm going to give my gender rant first.
There's no world which can interrupt this.
The reason this has a Peabody and the reason that this has Emmys is because this show's goal is to make men feel like they are harangued and harassed, and like what they actually like, and to celebrate the idea that their worst impulses, their impulses that are closest to like deeply rooted sexism and misogyny, are like good. Like, that's what this show is about. It's about making men feel better about their worst impulses. And men like that. Because we have finally, hey, look, maybe it's something good. We finally have a culture that regularly makes men question whether or not it's good to rape women. And what this show says is, yes, it's fine. Like, that's why that's why men like this show. And it's horrible. And I'm sorry. More than, like, I have said before that when someone tells me that their favorite movie is Fight Club, I know everything about them. I cannot think of the only thing that beats that is if I asked someone what their favorite TV show was and they said Entourage, I would know everything I ever needed to know about them, and it would all be bad.
The line of dialogue, "you just grab him by the pussy," would belong in any episode on the show that I watched.
Absolutely.
Without a blink. It is literally locker room talk, like, in a show. Like, it's that vibe.
Totally forgot about that part.
But that's, like, no, I think you're totally right, JC. Like, locker room talk. The idea that, like, this is how real men are. And, like, everybody who tries to make us not like real men is just a pussy, and fuck them. Like, that's what this show is about.
And this kind of pattern has still kind of continued in TV, but in different ways. Like, Chuck Lorre, his shows are very similar to this. I mean, the guy created 2.5 Men and The Big Bang Theory, and you see, disguised as more like CBS sitcoms.
Oh, the Big Bang Theory, I mean, I could go on. But
well, it's a podcast show, so one day we will. But this show is... It's just so embarrassingly pathetic, too. Like, this was like... You know, sometimes people said when this initially came out, like, okay, here's like the male Sex in the City. It's just like, you know, the 4 guys. Everyone's obviously a turtle or an E. But there is something like, okay, you're just kind of watching the wealth porn of it all. And yet, these 4 people, except for Kevin Dillon's trying drama, are so not charismatic. What they're doing is so banal and lame. And it's just really pathetic. So to add to that, the level of misogyny and homophobia to it is such a bizarrely empty show.
Yeah, it's awful.
The little that actually happens in an episode. I was watching one where I truly had an existential crisis where I couldn't tell if 5 minutes have gone by or 20 minutes has gone by. And typically when you watch a TV show now, we're all kind of used to, like, we unconsciously know where 42 minutes is for a show. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, we're wrapping up. I don't know for this show because it is just nothing but, like, embarrassment to see what's on screen.
It's like it looked at Seinfeld and said, "Oh, it's a show." I mean, there are a lot of shows like this that they hear the like quip that Seinfeld is a show about nothing, and then they decide to make a show about nothing, not realizing that Seinfeld is not a show about nothing.
Well, Seinfeld's also like one of the most plotted sitcoms. Like,
right,
Seinfeld,
exactly.
Season 3 onwards has an A, B, sometimes C plot that all converges at the end.
Right.
In a brilliant farcical way. The best episodes, obviously. But this has nothing happen, has no stakes, and there's not even, like, even if there wasn't horrible issues with, like, what's going on, they're not fun to hang out with. Like, Ari, that character is awful for 1,000 reasons, but also HBO has a grand history of vulgarity. Deadwood, The Wire, and Veep are some of the most, like, poetically profane shows. And Ari's big thing is he says, like, fuck you. Like,
well, no.
Also horrible homophobic.
Ari no, I will give, again, I don't want to give the show too much credit. There are times, though, that Jeremy Piven is given some pretty impressive insult rants that I have to give them, like, okay, that was pretty good.
I watched one and he saw George Takei and says, like, okay, Sulu. I'm like,
no, well, that's
he just
shitty,
played
but, like,
Sulu.
I mean, right, like, I'm saying, like, in season 2, when they're setting Aquaman, like, there's some things that are fine. But, like, even, again, like, honestly, like, I got a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome on season 2. There were a couple episodes that I genuinely enjoyed and thought were funny. Ari, like, like, fucking up his own daughter's bat mitzvah by trying to, like, make it a work thing was, like, a dark, like, a humorously dark thing. Because Ari was painted as the villain for once. Because, like, his 13-year-old daughter is there, and he keeps trying to get photo ops for his daughter and Vinny so he can get Vinny photo ops. And, like, it's fucked up and kind of funny. But, like, mostly, like, that was, like, I don't know. I just, like, it is so offensive. And you know what I like about it, in some ways, is how wrong they are. I texted Austin this, but, like, my favorite scene I saw was, so, like, Vince, in the first 2 seasons, like, Vince has a movie at Sundance, and Ari is all about, like, well, fuck this, no one cares about Sundance movies. And he goes, yeah, that guy Peter Dinklage, like, you know, he's a little person, he's a midget, yeah, the station agent was great or whatever, but, you know, like, he's never gonna be anything, like, you're basically just gonna be, like, do you want to be like that little person? And I'm like, Peter Dinklage is one of the most famous actors in the world now. Like,
yeah, and Jeremy Piven is a shit stain on the bottom of my shoe,
right,
honestly.
And, like, fuck you, Jeremy Piven. Fuck you, 2005.
Well, JC, definitely clean those shoes because he has mercury poisoning, so you really got to get that cleaned.
Oh, that's right.
What?
Okay, you guys weren't following Broadway stories from, like, 15 years ago?
No, I'm not. What are you talking about?
He was doing...
He said something awful and he claimed mercury poisoning for too much sushi, right?
No. It's dumber than that. He was doing Speed the Plow on Broadway with him, Raul Esparza, maybe Elizabeth Moss, I can't remember.
Speed, like Speed?
No, Speed the Plow. It's a play by David Mamet, who did Glengarry.
Yeah.
But then he had to stop doing it because his doctor said he had too much fish lately and had mercury poisoning.
Huh.
That's the thing that happened that he should still be mocked for because that's stupid.
I mean, that's amazing.
But the show's also, like, for an insidery show, it's also, like, remarkably stupid about how its own industry works.
Yeah.
Then Vince's movie, where he's, like, his first time acting in a thriller that was poorly reviewed, outgrossed a Pixar film in its opening weekend.
Yes.
That's fucking absurd. The last season also is centered around Andrew Dice Clay and giant drama starring a CBS animated show about vulgar gorillas. No. CBS would not be airing any animated show in primetime. Not one starring Andrew Dice Clay, again, as Andrew Dice Clay. That's maybe Adult Swim. And the whole plot is about them trying to get as much money as Simpson actors for being on the show.
And, like, the thing is, though, like, you know what? Now that we sit in 2019, isn't it so lovely that they were so fucking wrong about what, like, in the
that's
end...
what they were... Well, I mean, yeah.
Right, like, in the end, like, diversity won. At least it's trying to, and it's doing okay, right? Like, and, like, this version of masculinity is not. He's like, it's waning, finally, a little bit in Hollywood, which at least is something.
Pedro, you watched 2 episodes, which means you cannot hinge it.
I don't know where this rule came from.
3 episodes.
Where did this
This
rule
has
come
always been
Like,
the rule.
episode 1.
We've been doing this for, like, 3 years.
I know it's a rule. I don't know why.
Because otherwise you
sample size.
don't have a sample size.
Watch one more episode of Entourage, man. Honestly, you can pick one at random. And
They're all the same.
Exactly. So my 2 episodes should be basically a pretty good litmus test of the show, or a good sample of the show.
Pedro, don't make us suffer because you mismanaged your time.
Damn!
I don't even know if I'm going to be allowed to. The fact that I was able to play a second one without Darren, like, taking the controller from me and, like, shutting it off, she hated the she had never seen it, ever. And today I put it on, and within, like, 10 minutes, 5 minutes even, she's like, oh my god. Like, anger, rage just bubbled up.
Flames on the side of my face?
Yes, exactly. The whole time. And I don't know how she sat through a whole
person.
Well, and also, like, I mean...
Smart!
I don't know what it would be like to watch this as a white cisgender male, but I have to imagine that my experience as a woman is the same as any other non-white cisgender male's experience, which is it causes pain. Like, it's awful.
I'm not loving it either, watching it. It's a different
Yeah.
experience.
Maybe I
Honestly,
don't have the
but-
same internal pain, but it's definitely, something's wrong.
Something,
You know it's
yeah,
not
true.
great, Bob.
Well, the biggest closest thing to a plot point that happens in the pilot is at one point, Turtle and Johnny Drama are saying like, "Oh, hey E, we saw your ex-girlfriend making out with Vince Vaughn." And they're like, "What, really?" He goes, "No, we're just kidding." He goes, "Okay, I'm gonna get some good revenge on you." And then later, Turtle, go to downtown.
Is that what the bumper sticker was for?
It was his revenge. He had a
That was
bumper
the
sticker
revenge? Okay.
that said "I heart cock," and everyone's like, "What?" People kept turning their heads as they drove down the road.
Yeah.
And then one of his gardeners smiled at
Couldn't
him,
believe it.
which I guess validated that entire...
Yeah, that was good revenge. According to in the show's internal logic, that was a pretty good revenge.
Yeah.
The show's awful.
I think any
I don't know if it's worth watching.
2 minutes of gay sex is worth more than an entire season of this show.
That makes sense to me.
I would say.
Especially if it's gay sex that's aired in mainstream media. It's worth 10
Yeah.
times.
Vita,
Yeah.
now on Stars.
Cool.
Vita now on Stars.
Spartacus.
Spartacus.
Well, so Spartacus has gay
Formerly
sex,
on
that's true.
Stars.
Formerly on Stars, yeah.
Spartacus has good penises.
They do.
Spartacus Heartcock.
Spartacus. Heartcock.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's beautiful. I've never been so touched in my time on the podcast.
Spartacus, luckily,
Beautiful.
is a podcast show, so we're all set.
Oh, thank God.
Good.
Does this deserve to be on the list?
No.
Wait, that's...
Actually, that's worth discussing.
Well,
Curious.
for one thing, it is...
It was insanely popular. It won all these things.
I think it's a show that should keep being, looked at.
It's
as
a
a
cautionary tale.
as a weird artifact of because now we are looking at so much of media as pre and post Me Too,
Yes.
and this existing as such an award winner in a pre Me Too era, and then to watch the movie be so critically hated and bombed in the box office when it is truly the same.
Well, and it's pre Me Too, it's pre Obama, it's pre large scale acceptance of the gay rights movement. I mean, it's 2005 is the middle
Pre-financial crisis.
2005 is the middle of George W. Bush's time in office.
I thought they were doing a bit when they were talking about buying a house, and they were like, "Yeah, you buy it for $10 million this year, it'll be worth $20 next year."
No,
I thought that was literally a bit. I did not realize this happened before the crisis.
It's the end of everything is good in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
In the sense that when you have the 1001 movies, these are 1001. At least in someone's eyes, a great movies on all this list. Presumably that's supposed to be the same for album and songs. Because there aren't 1001 great TV shows yet, give us 6 more months because a billion shows come out a week. This should fit as a show you should see before you die to understand what did TV look like in 2005 in a way that it doesn't now. And even its own network, it was weird because when they aired The Wire and Deadwood, nobody watched them and were on the verge of cancellation. Now they're seen as two of the greatest shows of all time. But Entourage was something people were watching every week. It's almost like watching how HBO
That's
was
true.
in an interesting pivot. For historical sake, Entourage, once we actually have 1001 good shows, it's bouncing off. But as of this moment, I get why it's on the list.
That being said, I do not recommend that anyone watch Entourage.
Last question: have you read the book article on this? And are you sure that they are aware of how
hand it to
awful
me.
it is?
I bet they aren't.
Let's see here.
Because I am thinking they probably
Or dumbasses.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because you know what this book was written by? Men.
I mean, it won a BAFTA, right?
That's the kind of, again, it's because, I mean, damn, do I just rant politically for a second? Damn, did we we didn't pay enough attention to fragile masculinity. We thought that it was going to go away and it wasn't going to ruin all of our lives, and then it did. So that sucked.
There's not a single thing in these 3 paragraphs that is a actual bit of criticism.
Yeah, so they think it's good.
No, it's a 3-paragraph summary. There's nothing...
There's
I
no,
see. It
there's no
doesn't.
anything.
It's just
These
you
are-
should
these
watch
are
Entourage
facts.
because it's Entourage.
No, not
So
even
you're right,
that.
the fact
No.
that it exists as a television show.
This is a
given it
Wikipedia
spot.
summary of what Entourage is.
Huh. Alright.
That's weird.
It has recognition for a classic episode, which is One Day in the Valley, Season 3, Episode 2.
Okay.
Stuck in LA's suburban San Fernando Valley after a series of misadventures, the guys crash a pool party thrown by unsupervised high school kids. Needless to say, maturity goes out the window.
Is that a good episode?
I don't remember it. Why the
Who
fuck
could
would I remember
possibly know?
I don't know.
So yeah.
Alright.
1.5 hinges.
Wow, see, now I feel weird because that's, like, so low that, like, that is, like, the kind of low that we put on a show that is, like, universally not interesting.
No, that's why it gets a whole, like, 1 hinge higher than its
gotcha.
actual morality.
I'll give it a 2 for historical interest.
JC?
I'm giving it a 1 because I see no gods and take no prisoners.
I mean, that's fair. You're also, like, you guys are right.
Pedro?
Right, none of us are wrong.
You have a week
We're
before
not letting Pedro hinge it.
No.
Okay, great.
He's not. I'm saying you have a week before this episode comes out. You have
I was about
to, you
to
have
be
to
like, no.
hide from your girlfriend and watch 30 more minutes on your phone. Of
I
this
can't
show.
watch this shit on my phone. I don't want to be seen in public watching
Oh.
this.
I'll be like, no, it needs the
People
full
on the bus are
cinema.
going to be like, he's watching Entourage.
Oh, no,
and
no.
he wants to watch
Fuck
it
that
on the
guy,
bus.
yeah.
No, this is
This is why he's listening.
this is for the shitter.
That is true. That is true. This is you have a
That's
week
fair.
and a certain number of shits. I bet it
I can
adds
make it
up
work.
to an episode of Entourage.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyhow, that's episode 161. Once again, it's the same length of all same length of all our
666.
episodes.
Yep.
Nothing changed.
Yep.
666.
Next week, Pedro and I are live. Actually, doesn't matter.
I'm not here next week.
Pedro's watching like 9 days straight of horror movies at the Music Box. So,
Genre films.
that's true. Mostly horror, but yeah, got
Mostly.
some genre. So you will not be here next
I will
week.
not, sadly.
So we'll get your thoughts and stuff later. Eventually, we'll do that song we skipped. It's weird.
Cool.
I
Pop the
haven't
clock
yet, so.
by Effie. Next week, we're going to do the 117th entries in all these
Oh,
lists.
that's early.
Yeah.
And they are the following things.
We are watching Bringing Up Baby.
Just for some more interesting historical gender politics.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Oh, me? Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it at Doc Films at University of
Okay,
Chicago.
cool.
I saw it on film. Yeah.
I have never seen this movie, and I don't think I've ever actually watched Katharine
This
Hepburn
movie
in
is
a movie.
bizarre, and I'm really looking forward to people seeing it
never
because it's weird. It's a weird movie.
You've never seen Katharine Hepburn in a movie?
I'm checking her Wikipedia right now, but I'm pretty sure I haven't.
I've seen her in some things, but I haven't seen her in like a lot of movies. I've definitely seen Audrey Hepburn in more movies. Let me put it that way,
They are not related.
which is weird because Hepburn is like not a common name. Yeah.
What else do we have?
I have not seen any
Wow.
of these.
Well, have fun. The album, which I'm really excited about, is Aretha Lady Soul by Aretha Franklin. Yeah,
Cool.
make sure to listen to it.
Pedro, what song will we one day cover?
Someday we will listen to or cover the Clique song, Kong Kotwane. I think I did that right. By Miriam Makeba.
And the TV show is The Monkees.
Hey, we're the monkeys. People say we monkey around.
I started watching that today, by the way. Already a better show about 4 friends.
I like that. I like
The
that.
jump in quality is overwhelming.
Yikesers.
And also in terms of on-screen chemistry of just basic human beings.
Yikesers.
Anyhow, that'll all be next week. Be missing Pedro.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll see you in 163.
Probably. Is that 4th of July
Unless
weekend?
both of you die.
We'll figure this out.
Okay. Or 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sarah and I will take this forward into the future.
It is our in our will that we have to finish this podcast.
Is it?
Yep.
That's
Not in
concerning.
my will.
All right.
Not I would.
Check us out at theartofmore.com. Follow us on Twitter at The Immortals Pod. Leave us a review. Other podcasts are good. I have to lie down.
Oh, honey.
So until next time, I'm Austin.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Johnny Drama.
And I'm Pedro.
Again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.